Let's talk about burnout. How can we pay attention before it gets to crisis time?
So, from those personal experiences, but also professional experiences in supporting clients um, and other people I care for, the first thing that comes to my mind is I think in general, not always, but a lot of times our bodies are giving us these whispers um, of, I'm just feeling really tired, or it may show up as like GI, gastrointestinal issues, like so upset stomach or feeling nauseous, or I mean, just being blunt, like diarrhea, or just like upset in the GI tract, or
Mm,
I'm just having all these aches and pains in my body for no reason. You didn't do like a super hard workout, but your body, is
mm,
holding these stressors. Or when it comes to appetite, maybe we're eating more than we usually do, or sometimes it's the opposite, right? Of eating less than we may usually do. Um, Also, when it comes to burnout, depending on your profession or field, but when especially I'm thinking about spiritual leaders, compassion fatigue, and
mm,
how, I'm making this assumption that, many, if not all of us, are coming to this with a inept or innate rather sense of empathy, compassion, like loving what we do, wanting to help. That's always been a little red flag for me. If I'm like, my cares have dramatically decreased and I'm really struggling with
mm,
like digging up out of that well of compassion. Again, I'm just being frank.
mhm,
um that's a red flag. But sometimes we may rationalize like, oh, well, I don't need to feel this way, like this is what I'm called to do. Or, oh, if I can just get to next week, it'll all be okay, like I can survive this week of 100 things to do, when again we're getting those whispers. So I
mm,
think my invitation would be for folks to think about what are your first whispers, particularly with your physical body, and then yes, emotionally speaking, like feeling. So a lot of the symptoms of burnout actually mirror depression, and so again, if we're keeping it real, like so feeling sad or feeling overwhelmed or feeling isolated. And then also a part of burnout can also sometimes be having thoughts about suicide, because again, that sense of overwhelm and overburdened, feeling overburdened, can make people feel trapped. So again, I just want to have a keep it real conversation.
mhm,
So being in tune to what your signs are and what potentially is activating that. And again, when you hear the whisper, then tending to that. So for example, so in response to the call from our skills, um, I don't ever, I will always reiterate the importance of, again, physical body. Like, are you eating? And if so, what are you eating?
mm,
Um, and being, taking an invitation of watching those sugars and carbs, and not like in a like um, a, a issue around weight, but more so that those can further worsen mood, like carbs and sugars and things of that nature. Also, are you staying hydrated? I have a colleague who, like, that's what sometimes one of the starting lines in her email,
mhm.
like, hope you've had enough water for today. I'm like, you
Oh.
know what? Might not have today. Your sleep. And also that can be a part of burnout, like our sleep getting dysregulated. And so reattuning to sleep. What's your routine going into bedtime? Is it calming? Is it soothing? Or, you setting the phones away, the technology away, at least an hour. That's what's recommended at minimum, an hour before bedtime. I know so many of us are guilty
Yeah.
of not doing that. Um, but then also emotional coping skills, ways to externalize the emotions.
Mm,
Who do you have as support? And if you're telling yourself you don't, interrogating that. Because I think again, when we're feeling burnt out, it's like, oh, I don't want to just, put my problems onto somebody else, things of that nature. And I'm willing to bet you that there's at least one person who would be open to holding your story with them, even if they're not doing anything about it, but to hold your story um, together. And journaling could be a great one. Creative arts is another one, whether that's through music, singing, writing. Not saying how to be great. Now, if you are, add it plus, but
mhm,
or like if journaling, if I didn't say so, writing poetry, painting, coloring, connecting with those things oftentimes that we did in childhood that we enjoy.
Mhm.
And then of course, formal mental health treatment is always an option as well. And so connecting with a therapist and or a med provider, because there's many times in which there's that combination of meds and therapy can be magical. And what's needed when we combine those skills with just helping with some of that neurobiology, that might not be in balance. So I don't think there's anything else. And exercise, physical movement.
Mhm.
So whether that's the mindful walks or, get your cardio in, Zumba, yoga, whatever it may be, getting some type of daily movement can also assist with just one, restabilizing, getting us out of burnout, but then also supporting overall health and wellness, especially from an emotional space. So I think those are some of the skills that immediately come to my mind,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to burnout, because it's very real right now with this pandemic. Um, I don't even want to say the emergence of racialized trauma, like it's been here for 400 plus years,
Right.
but
Right.
we'll say a brighter spotlight, on racialized trauma and other forms of identity-based trauma.
Mhm.
Again, the burnout is real.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. I love that, like, we're recognizing that the burnout is real. And also recognizing that there are ways that we can address it, cope with it, check in
Mhm.
with ourselves, check in with one another. But that doesn't mean it's not like it's gonna be easy, obviously. It's yeah.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it's just thank you for all of that. And also the reminder that, like, some things we don't even sometimes we forget to pay attention to. What are you eating? How are you eating? How are you
Yes,
sleeping? What are you
yes.
drinking? All of
It's
that.
so easy to fall off. It's
Yeah.
so easy. It's so easy. So just, yeah, a little retuning.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, just to restore the physical body.
Yes, 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 yes. I know. I did have a conversation with somebody else, and we got to talking about like paying attention to the body. And I know that,
Mhm.
like, when I was, yeah, like, I think I was one of the people who got that teaching of, forsake the body. It's all about the spirit and the
Right,
soul. And
right.
it wasn't until I got older that I started, like, reconnecting with my body and, like, figuring out what a healthy
Mhm.
relationship is with my body. And it does wonders to be in touch with, what's going on in your body and just
Truly.
how much your body can tell you,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we cognitively or emotionally might not have the per perceptual ability quite yet, like our bodies can know.
Mm,
They have,
mm.
I know that's just my bias, but it is so, it's such a wise instrument. It's such a wise instrument.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
and then I know we've got to wrap up, but it just was a thought that came in my mind when I'm in other conversations I've had with folks who are spiritually oriented, but also social justice oriented. I think about, or I invite all of us to think about, which I reflect on for myself too, the ways in which, whether it's white supremacy or any other forms of oppression, I've really taught folks with marginalized identities to disconnect from our bodies,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's for the purpose of profit, or further harm, or, whatever the reasons may be, but just how us, think right now I identify as Black. So thinking about Black folks, particularly folks who are descendants of, African slaves, like just again, that disconnection from body, therefore spirit in some ways, how that benefited an entire system versus if we were to reunite those things and active practices, whether it's some of the skills I offer today, or if it sparked, I always think sometimes what I'm saying might spark another new idea for someone with regards to a coping skill, how empowering that can be, not only for ourselves, but also for the ancestors. That's just my approach, when maybe they did not feel as safe or able to reconnect with body in a way that also was incorporating their spiritual selves. So for those who that resonates for, because I won't claim that it will resonate with everyone, but if that does resonate with folks who are watching this, I invite you again, like think about what that means for you, and then how that might assist you with recommitting to taking care of not only your physical self, your emotional self, but again, connecting those two things. That was just the last thing that Spirit just gave me. I wanted to offer up, again, for anyone whom that might resonate for.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Thank you so much. That's just, yeah, beautiful, 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 and beautiful way to just conclude it all. But yes, thank you so much thank you for, so, because I know you received that, and thank you so much for like sharing it for, yeah. Thank you so much.
And listen, I've learned enough in this work. I'm like, all right, I gotta say it. Because then after this, I'll just be sitting with like, all right, Spirit told me I was supposed to say that, but I didn't. But here we are. Okay. So I've learned to make space, allow, and
yes, yes.
say yes. Say yes. Whenever that comes through.
Oh geez. Okay. And so yeah. So
wrap it up.
we've come to the end. But I also want to make sure that there's also nothing that like I have kind of prevented you from saying this whole time of trying to just making sure we're leaving room for things that have not been said that need to be said.
I was just wanting to really just a reminder that all of us matter, that you matter, I matter, everyone who's listening to this matters. And, no matter what's going on in your life, you are not alone. And my true, genuine hope is that everyone who hears this really is able to connect with their sense of belonging on this planet, their sense of value and worth on this planet as an individual, but then also to the broader collective. And so to please just take good care of yourselves and to reach out, and just the theme of our conversation around mental health, to reach out if you're ever feeling alone or as though life is just feeling too heavy. To again, your life matters. And there's things of worth and value that you have to offer just inherently by being who you are. And then also, yes, the gifts that have been instilled within you. So that they will be my parting words as we wrap up.
Well,
thank you, Gemma.
No, Dr. Sarah Scott, thank you. Thank you.
This was beautiful. I have a lot of gratitude right now and just feeling, don't get teary. Okay. Just thank you for making space for this to be a reminder about everything that I've gone through to get to this point, to be sitting here in this office and, sitting virtually even across from you, having this conversation. I don't take this lightly at all. And it's truly just has me in my heart very much filled with gratitude and feeling in alignment with God's call. In a way that, again, just very grateful. Just very grateful.
Thank you. And I'm grateful to hear that. I'm so glad to hear that.